part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
This episode of CAVS on the Break NBA podcast is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Newark AutoBody. With winter weather and slick road conditions comes black ice and accidents. And if you've been in an accident and your car needs a little TLC, look no further than Newark AutoBody and Zanesville AutoBody. Safe, reliable collision repairs is their business. Newark AutoBody and Zanesville AutoBody is a local, family-run, and veteran-owned business serving Newark, Zanesville, and surrounding areas. And guess what? They work with all insurance providers to make your experience hassle-free. And if you're a U.S. military veteran, even better. Ask about their special discounts for vets at the shop, and they'll be happy to help. Look, it can be hard to find a trustworthy car mechanic, but the people over at Newark AutoBody and Zanesville AutoBody have you covered. They do. They care for you first and make sure they keep you safe and get you back on the road as quickly as possible. Visit them at autobodyofnewark.com and autobodyofzanesville.com to get your repair started today. You can find those links in our show notes. Their iCar Gold Class team of skilled collision repair technicians will make your vehicle like new again. Again, that's Newark AutoBody and Zanesville AutoBody, partnering with Press Play Podcasts.
How's it going, everybody? This is Ben Billman, the host of the Full 40 College Basketball Podcast. I'll be coming to you weekly with the latest news and notes in college basketball. We'll be talking about which teams are rising, which teams are falling, and any other news or headlines that are dominating the world of college basketball, all the way until March Madness.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
What's good, Breakers? That sound means it's time for CAVS on the Break NBA podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, he's the NBA writer for HoopsWire.com. He's our CAVS insider, national NBA writer, Sam Amico. Sam, man, what a game. What a game.
I don't know. I heard Donovan Mitchell at the end of the game, and he went on the Cavs radio broadcast after the game for an interview, and he sat there and just said, "Oh my gosh." I mean, and then he said, "I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say." And when you talk about Max Strus's, what is officially listed as a 59-footer to beat the buzzer, to beat the Dallas Mavericks, Strus's line was because Mitchell and Garland weren't even in the game at the time he took that shot. And he said, "Well, I'm glad Don wasn't in because he probably would have taken that."
Yeah.
So
that was on HoopsWire. I read that in HoopsWire too, man.
I appreciate that. But yeah, he I mean, before we came on, Chase, I said, I've probably, who knows how many regular season games I've seen, but that was definitely the most intense regular season game that I can remember since I've been doing this since 2008 or so, and that was just something else.
John Sable's sitting this one out tonight, but we got you covered just like Max Strus has the Cavs covered tonight. 59-foot buzzer beater, as Sam mentioned. Sam, it's the end of February. Does it need a nickname? Does it need to have a nickname against the Mavericks in February 27th? I mean, is it nickname worthy? I don't think it is.
No, I mean, probably not, but I think this is going to be one of those games that goes down in Cavs lore that people will be talking about in 20 years and say, remember when Strus hit that shot? Even though it's not a playoff game, how often do you see 60-foot buzzer beaters to win a game in the NBA? When he let that go, I was like, yeah, that looks kind of close, like it might come close. And then,
well, he was dialed in all the fourth quarter. He hit like 4 straight threes in a span of like a minute and a half that really brought the Cavs back. Like with 3 minutes to go, they're down by like 10, and here comes Strus. If only someone on this podcast, just in our last episode, was like, hey, I like that Max Strus guy. If only there was someone who was riding and buying all of people's Strus stock. If only, man. I wonder what he'd be thinking right now.
He probably would be like, that Chase Smith, he's a believer. I knew it. I knew I wanted to prove Chase right. But yeah, and the funny thing is Donovan Mitchell said after the game that when he let it go. When Strus let it go, he was like, I'm not going to be one of those guys who tells you that I think it was like it was in. He
Yeah.
said, but I thought it was going to be close. And he said, and after that fourth quarter he had, it's fair that he made that shot because he kept us in it. And Mitchell earlier, a couple seconds, I guess it was about a minute earlier, uh, banked in a three
Yeah.
that really, kept them alive. So uh, what a game. It seemed like they had it won, and then it seemed like they had it lost, and then they won it. And all those things happened within the span of like 5 seconds of game time.
Yeah. And I think the ending kind of overrides another narrative in this game with Kyrie's return to the Cavs and a very nice video tribute and a lot of love from the fans. And it's nice to see Kyrie kind of reciprocate that love. It was a little dicey. He like seemed to, I don't want to say skirt playing the Cavs. He was with the Celtics. And to be honest, I forget who else he was with. That's right. Like, I think it seemed he kind of avoided it a little bit. Maybe it's some mental health things, just trying to protect him. I don't know why, but it was nice to see him disengaged and the crowd and the Rock and Cleveland embrace him for being instrumental in bringing a title. We wouldn't have a title without Kyrie. And so that was another kind of theme throughout the night, which was cool to see.
Yeah. I think Kyrie was never happy after he left the Cavs. I think he just came across as just not content when he was playing with the Celtics and Nets. Even though with the Nets, he had James Harden and Kevin Durant. With the Celtics, he had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He just never seemed happy. Now he does. He seems like he's found a spot in Dallas. You don't always have to be playing with, granted, he's got Luka Doncic there who had 45 points, 14 rebounds, and 9 assists tonight. I'm sorry, 14 assists and 9 rebounds. But I just think that Kyrie has found a place where he's content. I think that's why he, signed an extension right away this past summer to stay there. He and Luke have a good relationship. But I just think that probably played a role in how tonight went with him coming back out and the video tribute and the fans celebrating him and him, like you said, reciprocating it. And he had 30 points. I mean, he had a huge shot there too with under a minute left or a minute and a half left with a three. So, yeah, I mean, it was just a great NBA game all the way around. Really.
Yeah, and the Cavs kind of find themselves, Sam, in an interesting spot a week after the All-Star break. Kind of a little rocky, slow start to the second half of the season. They came back from the All-Star break, flying high. We were all talking about them at our live show in our last episode. Cavs in the finals, Michael Ray guys. Like, how about that? Stick down your pipe and smoke it, Sam. Cavs in the finals. And we come out of the All-Star game and with a big old dud, a big turd to the Magic. Sam, the Magic came in and bully balled us. They beat us 116-109. It wasn't really that close as the score kind of showed. And all of a sudden, hey, alarm bells going off in Cleveland again. One game after the All-Star break. What did we learn, if anything, about the Cavs in that kind of home ugly loss to the Magic?
Yeah, well, I mean, and it was going, you think about right before the All-Star break because they had lost 3 of 4. And the one win they had in there was against the struggling Bulls team at home. And the Cavs had to rally to even get that win. So even heading into the break, you were kind of like, they look clunky. They don't look as sharp.
That's not what we were talking about. They'd won, like, we were talking, they'd won 9 of the last 10 or 8 of the last 10.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean, at that point, but still, I was just like, okay, that's fine. But then you come out of the break. And then you go,
right.
So then you start thinking about, okay, what happened right before the break? They didn't look very good then either. They lost to a depleted Sixers team at home. They had to rally to beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
And then you had the break. And then you think, okay, now you lost to the Magic. Then you lose to a depleted Sixers team in Philly and didn't look very good in that game. And then, obviously you didn't
beat
have
the Wiz.
You beat the Wizards, but then after that game, JB Bickerstaff really gave them kind of their first tongue lashing after the game. and they
Yeah.
won that game against Washington. He said, I thought that we would play with more spirit and more fire. We need to get that back, that we're just not very sharp. I thought tonight they were better overall against a really good. This Mavs team has really improved after
Yeah.
they had Luka and Kyrie, but then going out and get Daniel Gafford
Gafford.
from Washington and PJ Washington, who made that layup
Yeah.
to give the Mavs the lead tonight. I think those two guys were extremely underrated additions, and Dallas is true Western Conference contenders. So
Sure.
to get this win, and Garland didn't play very well. I mean, he played okay, but he was 2 of 10 shooting, 8 points. He did have 7 assists, but he just wasn't himself. And for them to be able to get a win in a game that they kind of had, it seemed like for a while that they had it won, and then all of a sudden they blew it.
Yeah.
It was nice for them to get a good win against a quality team, and that's why you can't get too excited about would they win 17-18. It's great. They're playing great basketball. They're not quite playing at that level yet, but at least they've shown you that they can do it. And they just got to get back to it. It's nice. Look, they've won 2 in a row, not playing their best. So
You think
you take the good with the bad.
you think their slow start has to do with the team listening to our podcast and hearing they're making the finals, Sam?
Probably. They're like they feel like they're shoo-ins. They can just coast from here. And the one thing I did say was they only needed to win like 65% of their games to be a top 3 seed. They're not going to catch Boston. I don't think they're going to stay ahead of Milwaukee, but they could.
They could. They're 7.5 behind the
Boston.
Celtics. I think they're 7.5. The Bucks like 9 games back, I believe. From
right. They've got like
Boston,
a game and a half over Milwaukee. I expect Milwaukee to play better. But here's the difference, Chase. If you're talking about the playoffs right now, you're the number 2 seed. If the playoffs started right now, your choices are Orlando, Chicago, Indiana, or Atlanta. Those are the teams that would be in the play-in tournament right now. So,
which we talked about at our live show, which you can go back and hear our discourse about who we'd rather play and why and all that. That was a great conversation. So we were right there, man.
And then number 3 right now, if you're the 3 seed, guess who you play in the first round? The defending Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat. Yeah. So there's a big difference between finishing second or third.
And the Heat are playing good ball right now.
I watched them last night play Sacramento without Jimmy Butler, without Tyler Hero, without Terry Rozier, and they beat the Kings in Sacramento. So Kevin Love had a monster game. Eric Spoelstra had a great line about Kevin Love. He said it was a retro Kevin Love game. He had like 19 points and 10 rebounds. And he said, for small stretches, this is just small stretches, but he can be who he once was for a few minutes at a time, who he once was. He's not that guy now, but who he once was, he can do that for a few minutes. I thought, wow, that's brutal honesty from your coach.
That hurts
but
to hear.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah. One of the things I think we saw, I don't know if we learned because I think this is pretty evident, but one of the things we saw in that Magic loss, Sam, is just how important Donovan Mitchell is to this team. He didn't play in that game. And I don't know if Evan Mobley's him. I don't know if Darius Garland's him. I don't, because if they are him, they would have taken advantage of that game at home and done what they needed to do. Donovan Mitchell's him.
Well, without question. I mean, you remember, Chase, when he first got to Cleveland, you and I both, most fans and you and I both were like, well, whose team is it?
Yeah.
Is it who's taking the final shot?
Real quick.
I mean, we learned that within probably 2 weeks. And that's not an insult against Garland. It's just Mitchell's just that good.
But I think it showed us that Garland's not ready. Mobley is not ready. And we need Mitchell to play. We need him to play. If we have any chance of doing anything in the playoffs, we need Mitchell to play.
For sure.
And I think just as a fan, you don't want your hopes and dreams to be, you want your team to, like the Heat, go into Sacramento and not have 3 or so stars, and all of a sudden you still win on the road. I don't think I don't know. It was just hard to see. And Mitchell is that important to this team. And the Magic, well coached, young, tough team, not to be trifled with, not to be taken lightly. And I think maybe the Cavs overlooked the Magic then as well. But I didn't
Yeah.
like what we learned. You know, hard pill
Well,
to swallow that game
yeah,
was,
what
Sam.
what we've seen from them over the past, I guess it's been 5, 6 games now, and I thought JB Bickerstaff really nailed it when he said the Cavs just haven't been showing the same spirit because they went into Philly earlier this year. Philly had Joel Embiid, and the Cavs won that game without Donovan Mitchell. So I mean,
Yeah,
it can be
that's
done,
true.
but they've got to be playing the right way. Karis LeVert really had been in a slump since the All-Star break. I mean, he was 1 of 11 against Philly. They had a great shot to win that game in Philly. LeVert had a few open jumpers. I thought he played a good game, but I think he was like 1 of 11 from the field. Um, and I mean, this year, if you're talking about the whole season, because of Garland and Mobley's injury, if you're talking about the whole season, your best player's been Donovan Mitchell. Your second best has probably been Jared Allen. And your third best has probably been Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert's been great in stretches. And again, in fairness to Garland and Mobley, they had a big stretch there where they missed almost 2 months apiece. So um, I just think that they just got to get those guys integrated, Mitchell, or I'm sorry, Garland and Mobley, and get back to that kind of just the just that kind of spirit that they had and that camaraderie and that chemistry. They get along great. There's no issues, there's no drama. It's just when you're talking about on the court, they've been a little bit uneven, and I don't think that's a huge deal because again, like I said, it's February 27th, but it's something that you don't want to see them get into a habit of because if they're playing like this, and let's exclude the Dallas game. If they're playing like they were leading into the Dallas game over the past 4 or 5 games, they're ripe for a first round exit. Now, if they're playing like they were playing during the 9 game winning streak, well, then, yeah, they could get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And as Michael Ray guy predicted, maybe the finals. So, I mean, which team are they? They got to get that figured out. And they don't have to do it right now, but you want to build good habits to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, like you said, Garland, 8 points, 7 assists. Mobley almost a triple double, 12 points, 7 assists, 9 boards. Couldn't get the double double, but he was flirting with it. Max Strus 7 for 10 behind the line, behind the arc tonight. That's great. Hey, is Sam Merrill only going to get minutes based on matchups? I mean, he didn't get any minutes tonight, and seems to be not only a fan favorite, but changes the dynamic of the team when he's out there. He gets picked on defense. But do you like? Should Sam be getting minutes, or is Sam where he needs to be?
No, I think he should be getting some minutes. I don't think he gets picked on a whole lot more on defense than Darius Garland.
Yeah.
So but you kind of have to, if you're JB Bickerstaff, you look at situations. Guys like Merrill, Craig Porter Jr., those two in particular are going to be guys who probably play sporadically. Just because when they're playing, you got to sit one of your main guys. So you know if you're Bickerstaff, you want to make sure that you're comfortable with who's in the game when it's a tight game or when you have a big lead or when it will be situational. Anytime you ninth and 10th, 11th men, 12th men, those guys are all situational. They're not, I have to play him. It's when I do have to play him, he's shown he's been able to deliver, which is why you like them and why you say you have great depth. But other than that, it's tough to play 9 guys. It just is because then you're taking out Okoro, Levert, those guys who have proven to you over time that they can do the necessary things toward winning. And I think that's again not a shot at Merrill or Porter. It's just somebody's not going to play every game. So I think there's going to be games where we'll see Sam Merrill for 20, 25 minutes. There's going to be other games where he doesn't play. Probably the same with Dean Wade. I don't think Dean Wade won't, I don't think there'll be a time when Dean Wade doesn't play at all when he's healthy. But I think there's going to be games where he plays 20, 25 minutes and games where he plays 7. So it just depends. It's all situational when it comes to those guys. The key is that you're playing your main 7, 8 guys every game. And when everybody's healthy, they do go. I mean, who comes off the bench? Okoro, LeVert, Yang.
Yep.
Those are your main guys off the bench, and then probably Wade. So there's 9. And then Merrill is 10. And 10th guys don't play every game. That's just the way it goes in the end.
Cavs got 38 points. Let me make sure. No, 30 points from their bench tonight. Dean Wade with 9 minutes, 0 points. Well, and the plus minus, the bench played great. Karis LeVert was plus 16, Okoro plus 12, and Yang was plus 17. And so Okoro and Yang shot well from behind the arc as well. So the Cavs bench played, kind of played well and kept them in this game. I just think, I don't know. Sam Merrill is an easy person to like. He comes in, shoots threes, and he goes sits down.
He's got a super quick release. But you just have to, Merrill is, even though he's a little bit older, he's still kind of like a rookie almost, because I think he's 26, 27 years old.
Yeah, he's 27.
Yeah.
3 years in the league.
Right. But nobody saw this coming. They went out and got Strus and Yang, and Ty Jerome, who I actually saw on the sidelines tonight in sweats. They went out and got those guys with the idea that, Sam Merrill's going to be a G leaguer. And to Merrill's credit, he has shot through Cannon this year and really became somebody that emerged from nowhere that they weren't expecting or planning on. So that's the benefit of that. And there are going to come times where it's a situation, it's like, we need threes. That we need a lot of threes, and we'll see Sam Merrill more that game. But it's just going to be tough for him to break the rotation, because the rotation's pretty good.
Yep. Hey, our boy Sharif Cooper got a contract with a 2-way deal with the Cavs 10-day. We interviewed him at Media Day. Just looking for experience with Porter out, or like what are they looking at with Coop?
I think the Cavs have been rewarding guys who have played well in the G League, who have been, because before Sharif, Zaire Smith got a 10-day deal. Before that, Pete Nance got a 10-day deal, and now he's on a 2-way contract. After they signed Porter to a regular deal, they're rewarding those guys for sticking with it and keeping their head up and playing hard, particularly Pete Nance, Zaire Smith, Sharif Cooper. Those guys have been busting their buns in the G League.
Busting their buns. Don't say that anymore.
Busting their hiney.
Oh, no, that's worse. They've been working really hard.
And what's funny is we haven't seen much of Amoni Bates.
Right.
And I don't know why that is. He's played pretty well in the G League, but I think they want him to do more than shoot threes. And he's still developing. They kind of look at him as he's still developing into an NBA player.
Yep. Well, hey, Sam, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about the next couple week games. Primetime Cavs coming up, Sam. A lot of big primetime games. 25 games left. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to take a break here from our good friends at Cleveland Party Rentals and Newark AutoBody Shop. Stick around. Cavs on the break. Sam, Amico, Chase Smith. We'll be right back.
This episode of Cavs on the Break NBA podcast is brought to you by Cleveland Party Rentals. Cleveland Party Rentals is the premier event planning and party rental group in the 216. Their approach is simple. Cleveland Party Rentals treats your event as if it was their own. It's a commitment they uphold, ensuring they alleviate the stress of event coordination, allowing you to savor the moments that truly matter. Imagine not having to worry about the details of a birthday party, bar mitzvah, quinceañera, birthday shower, or even an upcoming golf masters party, giving you more time to focus on the memories. At the core of their ethos lies transparency. Cleveland Party Rentals is dedicated to offering you pricing that is clear and free from hidden fees, coupled with one of the most robust canceling policies in the industry. Their Game Watch party package includes a screen projector, double brown frozen drink machines, popcorn machines, and 2-tap beer jockey box. This is a complete package that transforms your backyard into a cinematic and gaming paradise. It's your all-in-one solution for an unforgettable outdoor gathering. And just for our listeners of Cavs on the Break, Cleveland Party Rentals is offering you 10% your entire booking just by using code CLEPartiesRock at checkout. That's 10% off your booking with code CLEPartiesRock at checkout. You can find Cleveland Party Rentals on Instagram and Facebook, as well as their website, clevelandpartyrentals.com. So if your next big game, hire local and go with Cleveland Party Rentals. You will not be disappointed. Hey Breakers, Chase Smith here. I know you're a huge fan of the Cavs, and let's be honest, probably any professional team in Cleveland you're going to like. And there's no better way to show it by wearing your team colors to the office or around the house. Homage makes the most stylish Cleveland Cavs gear, and it's the most comfortable. And what better time to get yourself a gift than this holiday season? Head on over to the link in our show notes to see what Homage has to offer. They offer a wide range of official NFL, NBA, and MLB licenses, as well as official gear from Nickelodeon and the WB. Yes, that's right. They do more than sports. There's something for everyone over at homage.com. Personally, I have this awesome maroon Cavs hoodie with the gold Cavs lettering over the front, a Garland Mobley NBA Jam style t-shirt, and a super comfy Columbus Clippers t-shirt. I wear these items all the time, especially this new Cavs hoodie. It's warm, it's cozy, and I don't want to take it off. It's the best. It looks great. Check out the link in our show notes and get your Homage gear today.
What's up, everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tybus Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tybus, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup, game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger, Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
The R&R podcast going to be rocking and rolling with you because football season is underway. College, Ohio State, the Power Fives, the MAC, the Browns. Michael Regai, are you ready to rock and roll with some football?
Kenny, I've been ready. This is our time of year. This is what R&R is all about. We're going to be with you every week. Kenny just said it, Browns, NFL, Ohio State centric. So you got to stay with us all fall and winter long here on R&R.
That's right. The Regai and Rhoda podcast coming to you here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Subscribe now and don't miss a show.
Hey, I'm Jason.
And I'm Gary. And we love ball cards.
And if you love ball cards too, good news. You just found your new favorite podcast. From breaks to grading.
And from collecting to flipping, join us on the Ball Card Show.
The sports podcast for the sports collector.
All right, we are back. Cavs on the break. Sam Amico, Chase Smith. Cavs have 25 games left. Seems crazy to say that, Sam. It seems crazy. 25 games left. Here we are. But the rest of this slate night, week 19, slate 19, we are playing a game tomorrow, today, whenever you're listening to this, we play today at the United Center against the Bulls, 8 p.m. And then Friday, we're in Detroit against the Pistons. Are you going to that game, Sam?
I am not. I haven't completely ruled it out, actually, but I would say probably 80% not at this point. Just kind of need a weekend, just do nothing. I can watch a game from my couch, write my observations, which you and John Sable will rush to the computer. Well,
Yep.
sorry, you'll read
I
it.
get alerts on my phone. And really, I have your life tracked, and anytime you do anything, I get an alert of where you are and what you do.
I should tweet out more than knowing that.
And Sunday, March 3rd at the Rock versus the Knicks, ESPN, baby.
I will be there for that.
First of 3 primetime games in a span of a week. For the Cavs, primetime Cavs. Seeing the rest of this slate 19, the Bulls and the Pistons not playing the best. The Bulls, kind of in that conversation for the later in the playoffs, but they
just don't lose to the Pistons.
Yeah. Yeah. That would not be a good look. Unless they're looking ahead to that Knicks game and they don't take that game seriously, that you don't want that to happen.
No.
Which, very well could be, but the ESPN Knicks game is going to be a lot of fun, man. 7 p.m. at the Rock.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're playing the Knicks, you should be fired up. And boy, they've got some injuries there with Randall and Anunoby.
Yep, OG.
And obviously Mitchell Robinson's been out a big chunk of the year. And those are 3 guys who really killed the Cavs, and RJ Barrett, obviously not there. And Quickly, who used to kill the Cavs, is not there anymore either. So they still have Brunson, though. They're still dangerous, and they still got a lot of depth there now with Bogdanovich and Alec Burks and those guys they got at the trade deadline. So it's always a for the Cavs, it's considered a rivalry. I think the Knicks kind of, or at least the New York media kind of laughs off the Cavs, but
yeah,
I think that it's always in the Cavs' mind. This is the team that really kind of embarrassed us in the
playoffs. Yeah, the Knicks 3-7 their last 10 games. It would be encouraging to see the Cavs come and lay the smacketh down on the New York Knickerbockers here on Sunday, just to tell them and us, the fans, that they're a different team, and that whatever happened in the playoffs last year isn't going to happen again, and it's not going to start now. And it would be nice to see that. Sam, are you going to be concerned if they come out flat?
Yeah, I don't think they should be coming out flat against anybody. It's okay to come out flat against the Pistons as long as you still win that game. And you're going to have games where you come out flat, but you certainly don't want to do it against a team that you're trying to make a statement against. You're trying to quiet the narrative around that matchup. I'd be concerned if they came out flat. Chase, let me ask you something.
Shoot, man, what you got?
Who was my first guest ever on my Facebook 330 to go show?
It was me.
I can't believe you're not still like on cloud 9 because of that. I thought that'd be the first thing you brought up.
Oh, no. Hey, man, not after a 59-footer Max Strus, man. I had to gloat about Max Strus a little bit.
Right. Felt like Max Strus after the 59-footer, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, which loss would be worse, a loss to the Pistons or a loss to the Knicks? It's a good question.
Just don't lose both. Which loss would be worse?
I'm going home against the Knicks.
If you lose to the Pistons and beat the Knicks, I think
they know they're better than the Pistons. Everyone knows they're better than the Pistons. They don't have to
they don't have to prove anything
to prove you're better than the Pistons. A loss to the Knicks at home without Randall, without OG, without, Mitchell Robinson, even though they didn't have, OG.
Right. Last year.
If we have to play the Knicks in the playoffs and we lose, I don't want, let's beat them now, get it out of our system, beat them now good, and go to the playoffs with some of this confidence that, hey, we
can handle the Knicks. Yeah. Well, because you lose to them at home, it's going to be in your mind if you face them
for sure
in the playoffs. And what are they now? What are the Knicks now? Like 4 seed?
Yeah, the Knicks are 4th. Yep, they're 11.5 back. So we got a 4-game lead on the Knicks. Really just Brunson's keeping that team alive. It's really just the New York Brunsons at this point.
Right. And he's good enough that he will keep them alive. And
Gosh, that's good. I'm about to start calling the New York. Sam, who else could host this pod?
No one's sane. Let me tell you that.
Gosh, I think the answer is a lot of other people could host this pod way better than me. I just
wouldn't
enjoy
be
coming
honest.
up with stupid
John
things.
Sable can host it as well.
John Sable hosts the crap out of this pod. Shouts to John Sable. Just, not with us now, that's for sure.
No, he's in Florida with his family, enjoying his time in what did he call it today in our group text? God's waiting room.
Something like that.
Yeah.
John's actually going to be hosting the next couple episodes, Sam. So this is the last time we might be talking for a while.
I know. Yeah. He's also coming on my 330 to go show, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. So yeah, we'll talk trash behind your back.
That's totally fine. But then next week, we have 4 games. Monday, March 4th at the Rock against the Celtics on TNT. Another big game, 7:30. That'd be a lot of fun. Wednesday, gosh, that's back-to-back Knicks, Celtics. That is
both at home.
Doozy.
On 2 nights.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wednesday, March 6th, we travel to Atlanta to play the Hawks. Always play us tough. Friday, March 8th at the Rock against the T-Wolves on ESPN.
Look at Minnesota, number 1 in the West right now.
Sunday, March 10th at the Rock versus the Nets. So interesting week for the Cavs. A lot of let's show us what you got. You come into the All-Star break, 17 of 18, whatever whatever you want the national attention. You want to put your name on the mat. Like, hey, this is the week to do it, man. This is it, Sam.
Yeah,
Knicks, Celtics, T-Wolves, national TV. This is their time to shine. Mobley, you want to show us what you got? Mobley, Garland, you want to show us that you're worthy of a 1-2 with Mitchell? Let's see it. This is the best players in the league right here. This is it. Show us what you got.
These are the games that and it's not just the narrative around them, it's how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
When you win or lose these games, you start to, you lose too many of them, you start to say, okay, we're not ready to play with the big boys. And if you win, you can say, hey, we're one of the teams to beat in this conference. It's not just 9 in a row, 8 in a row earlier this season. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Obviously, just look at it this way, Chase. After this stretch that you just named, concluding with the Timberwolves, you've got about 4 weeks left of the season. That's it. Yeah. 4 weeks left of the regular season. So this is a very crucial stretch, very, very vital stretch. And then, of course, I think they still have, am I correct? In April, they're going out west once more.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
after the All-Star break, they had like the 3rd easiest remaining schedule.
Yes.
And so really once we get through these top teams, it should be, some of the more formidable foes you would think maybe aren't as frequent as other teams. It's imagine with me, Sam, just imagine with me a world where we beat the Knicks on ESPN. The next day we beat the Celtics at home, and then we beat the Wolves. What happens if we sweep? What happens if the Cavs are rolling and all of a sudden, whoa, Cleveland, hello, basketball, that they show up, do their thing, national TV, and they come away with 3 wins here.
Well, you can't lose to the Bulls and Pistons in that stretch, though.
If you beat the Knicks, Celtics, and Wolves, I think you can lose to the Bulls and the Pistons.
Isn't there somebody else in there? Oh, the Nets.
The Hawks and the Nets.
Oh, the Hawks and Nets. Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I think that in order to feel good about yourselves, what you want to do is just show that you belong in this conversation, and I think they've done that to this point. Even though they've had a little bit of an uneven stretch here, I think they've done that to this point. That we need to show ourselves that we belong with these. Obviously, Boston's a contender. Obviously, the Knicks are a team that was kind of their rival, at least in their eyes, in the Cavs' eyes. And then, Minnesota, they're just they're an up and coming team, and you want to kind of keep them at bay. Cavs got swept by a up and coming team this season so far, and that was very early in the year, and that was they played them twice early, was the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to kind of keep those teams behind you in terms of your own psyche, that we're not just up and coming anymore. We're going to overtake some of these teams and show them that we're ahead of them.
Of those 3 primetime games, Knicks, Celtics, Wolves, is there a team that we match up the worst against? Like, which of those teams are you like, that's going to be hard?
Celtics. I think
Really?
most teams match up with the Celtics. Yeah, Porzingis, and I mean, obviously Brown and Tatum obviously are fantastic. So there are problems in and of their own, but you know, Porzingis, they really hurt us in Boston, those 2 games that the Cavs lost back to back. And then Drew Holiday, to me, has been a huge underrated pickup for them. I think that's why they're really more of the team to beat than I've seen them. Even they went to the finals 2 seasons ago. So I think Boston. I mean, they're not the same Celtics that we've been seeing over the past few years. This is a team that has really put in some size and a fantastic winner running the point in Holiday, a championship point guard who's really very underrated, a veteran player. The Celtics just got a little bit more experience, and then at the trade deadline, adding Xavier Tillman and some of these other guys. I just think that they're a team that they don't only have stars, but they've got a nice depth as well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how we match up against the T-Wolves. I do think the Celtics are just consistent. I think there's a lot of stability there. I do think Zinger brings a different element, but I think our size works. I know we lost.
That helps. It does. I mean, but the thing is, it's
their experience. They have pedigree.
Right.
They have all these things that we don't. They've been there. So yeah, I hear you against the Celtics. T-Wolves, man.
I'm not worried about the T-Wolves unless we see them in the finals.
True. But I'm just for this week primetime Cavs.
I still think Boston. Minnesota's fantastic too, but
yeah. I think Anthony Edwards might be the best player that the Cavs play over the next week and a half.
Better than Tatum?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of the Celtics because I kind of wait for the playoffs to watch them, but Tatum seems to think he's the MVP.
Yeah. Poor guy.
He has no chance. Yes, I don't think he has a chance. I think it's going to be.
He's not even going to get first team on.
Joker, Doncic. Who else am I missing in there?
SGA.
I don't know if he's league MVP, but he's certainly
more than Tatum.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying I disagree, but yeah, maybe he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Antetokounmpo. I mean, there's so many guys that you could pick, and I just don't think that Jason Tatum really kind of exudes the face of the NBA. But guess what? If you're the best player on the best team, you got a good shot at it.
Sure.
And they're the best team in the NBA right now.
Well, it'll be fun regardless what happens. The Cavs are here, y'all. Coming out party this week against the best teams in the league, and we'll see what we can do, man. Well, that does it for this episode of Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Thank you all so much for downloading and listening. Shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network for making this possible. Also, shouts to Cleveland Party Rentals and shouts to Newark AutoBody Shop. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Cavs on the Break. We always follow back. You can follow Sam on Twitter at Amico Hoops. Catch all of his works and writings at hoopswire.com and at Wire Hoops. Sam, anything else? Where else can we catch you?
Hoopswire.com and this fantastic podcast. And then, of course, every Thursday night, 6:00, I do a live show. I've done 2. The second one was my favorite ever because you were on it. 330 to go on Facebook, which is really an interesting thing. If they had asked me like 6 months ago to do this, I would have said, no, probably not. But this is like the news source for the 330 area code.
Yeah.
They've really built this up, and it's really been impressive. So they asked me if I want to do like 2-minute little reports here and there, and I'm like, anyone who knows me knows I can't just talk 2 minutes. This thing's got to be like an hour long. So every Thursday, 6 o'clock, 330 to go Facebook. It's me live talking, and I usually hope to have a guest. So you can certainly catch me there too.
Will this continue after the CAVS season, or is this only for basketball?
I believe it'll go all the way to like free agency. I don't think we've really discussed that. It's probably up to me. And I think that, knowing what we're knowing is ahead this summer, which every summer it's what are the Cavs going to do? So I think it'll probably go right up until free agency in early July, and then take a break for football season.
What are you going to do when the Cavs play on a Thursday night? Are you going to do your show or go to the game?
I did my show last Thursday. They played at home against your Orlando Magic, and you and I did the show.
Right.
I stayed home.
Yikes.
There's going to be some times when I do it live from the game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I find a quiet spot, but sometimes the background noise makes it even more exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, who wins the Junkyard Dog Award tonight, Sam? I know it's just me and you.
Boy, why do I have to pick?
Well, I'll say this.
Didn't you win the last one you were on?
With me and you, maybe.
I don't know.
Well, only one of us was pro Max Strus at the live show.
Okay, you win. It's fine. You win.
Let's go.
I'll tell you this much though: Sable has no chance because it's my turn after that.
Yes, you deserve it, buddy. Reg definitely deserved it at Whitey's, man. Let me tell you.
Yes, for picking them to go to the finals. Sure,
it's good stuff. All right, Mike Breen, take us out.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.